I want to get to this. I saw Malcolm and Simone Collins talking about this on Based Camp. This one's interesting. Ben Shapiro, talking of lolcows, we talked about a lolcow on the left with Hassan Piker. Now we can talk about a lolcow presumably on the right, though not really. Very typical neocon grifter. Ben Shapiro has fallen off. Daily Wire's had, what is it, like 100 people laid off? Good chunk of their staff. The numbers aren't there. It appears that Ben Shapiro was botting views and everything. He's kind of fallen off. People aren't listening anymore. And, that's to be expected when you gambled and lost on the whole never Trump thing and then just continue to be a Zionist shill for Israel. And it's like, no matter what, it's just all about forever wars for the benefit of Israel and, fuck over Americans. And it's like, if you can't afford to live somewhere, you just need to move. And, oh, you don't need to be retiring. You just need to work till you die, to pay for the forever wars in the sandbox. That doesn't resonate with people. That doesn't even resonate anymore to a certain extent with boomers. And so he's fallen off. Nobody's watching his shit anymore. Nobody's listening to him. It's over. And as the video here from Asmongold is talking about, he knows it's over. Brett Cooper's channel is doing better than his now. Funny how that works. Classic tale in history of Jewish people creating golems, and the golems end up ultimately devouring them. He can't even rein in Matt Walsh anymore. Yeah, no, he might as well not even bother trying. Matt Walsh would just be better off going off and doing his own thing. Now, if we could just get Matt Walsh to stop talking about and stop shitting all over anime and video games and talking about wanting to ban them and etc., then he might actually be consistently relevant. Brett Cooper used to be the one people joked was Ben Shapiro in drag with his female clone as sister. She stayed on message because she knew who was writing the checks. Anyways, let's check this out from Asman.
All the haters can kiss my ass. Let me guess.
Well, hello, and listen. Well, New York Magazine claims there was a time when Ben Shapiro could reasonably call...
Okay.
Well, hello, everybody. Sometimes here on the Ben Shapiro Show, we cover the news, and sometimes we are the news here at the Daily Wire.
Wow.
Well, over the past few weeks, the Daily Wire, you might have noticed,
Bushman
has been the
eyebrows.
subject of a bunch of hit pieces, like a veritable cornucopia of...
Also, Benny Boy, you can try and grow out the porn stash and, let the facial hair grow out a bit, do the whole Don Johnson style 5 o'clock stubble. You are never going to stop looking like an overgrown child. I'm sorry. You're just never going to stop looking like an overgrown child. It doesn't help that you also act like an overgrown child, too. I noticed I am blocking the view of our Roach King here, so I'm going to move over here and swap places with you, chat. Every time he supports our country, his eyebrows grow. Yeah, that makes sense. His eyebrows are a scale replica of the Greater Israel Project.
hit pieces. There was one from the Washington Post, and there was one from Puck, and then finally there was an especially ridiculous one from the stellar journalists at New York Magazine, who literally plagiarized their hit piece from the Washington Post.
Wow.
So much journalisming, high-level journalisming. Well, this morning, that New York Magazine piece
journalisming me? What the fuck even is that? You're trying to be clever? You're trying to be funny? The joke's not landing, Ben. But then again, you never really possessed a sense of humor about much of anything, did you?
Webs, it's lighting up X.
The great
Well,
caterpillars
New York
of Tel
Magazine claims
Aviv.
there was a time when Ben Shapiro could reasonably call himself the king of all conservative media. I don't remember that time.
Do you think that his viewership keeps going down? He should make the hat smaller.
Yes.
It's like a power level indicator. Like if like his subscribers go under like a certain amount.
Now it just looks like he's overcompensating for something.
Like it should get like nerfed. It's like, in Dragon Ball Z where it's like, okay, well, how much hair they have? That's like, Super Saiyan 2 or 3. It's like, holy shit, right?
It sounds cool. They say that's all over now. The Daily Wire is instituting significant layoffs. Well, according to New York Magazine, the future of conservatism isn't
they are
traditional
significant
conservatism. Like free markets, like equal rights before law, like checks and balances, like traditional virtue. That's done. The future, according to New York Magazine, is Nick Fuentes, confirmed.
I mean, you never really believed in that anyways. Again, your sole purpose for existence is to act as containment for the right wing and always make sure that everyone stays on brand and on message of being pro-Israel and pro forever wars in the sandbox. That's all you've ever been about. That's all you ever will be about. Because we know where you take your marching orders from. We know that you are more than likely an asset of Mossad, and you always have been. You just don't have the balls to be transparent about it, which we would have more respect for you if you would just be transparent about all of this. But you don't even have the decency to do that.
Nazi stan and woman hater and man who will never be able to get a human woman pregnant through natural means. Or Tucker Carlson, confirmed anti-capitalist and Muslim apologist and victim of demon scratching. Or maybe Candace Owens.
All the people that clearly get under his skin, though, to the one negative about Tucker Carlson, same thing. He gets his checks, his paymasters are in another part of the sandbox. I believe the Qatari government has bankrolled him quite significantly. Also something he's not really been all that transparent about. And needs to be transparent about that. If someone's footing the bill for this sort of thing, disclose. It never hurts to just disclose. Steven Crowder rises faster, the faster Ben Shapiro falls. Wonder why this is. Yeah, and it's sort of after having quite the dip for a long time. They both became popular due to memes about the campus debates. Two, there always are. Yeah, the difference being Crowder actually seems to take a genuine interest in this sort of thing. And Shapiro is just all about, how can I talk down to all of you and make you look and feel stupid and make myself look good? Whereas Crowder seems to take a genuine interest in having conversation, even if only for the lulz and the content.
Confirmed slanderer of widows and connoisseur of French testicles. Or maybe Megyn Kelly, click whoring Grandma Groiper over there. Well, New York Magazine writes, quote,
oh my God.
Of the Daily.
Wow. Way to stab somebody in the back who really helped put you on the map when you were just an irrelevant little nobody. Also, how stereotypical your behavior. Crowder had a big downturn following his disastrous divorce, then fight with Candace Owens and other people online over it. Yes, that did not make him look good. Also, he has had a lot of former colleagues and other talents really come out and just call him out for being quite the asshole. So that is that.
Wire can be seen as a dire warning for traditional Republicans. There are two realities to Shapiro conservatism in 2026.
That's brutal.
It retains a significant foothold among Republicans.
Hold on. Shapiro conservatism? There's nothing conservative about you, sir. You're a neocon, which is really just a neoliberal. And you're dressed up in the Israeli flag. You conserve nothing. You absolutely conserve nothing.
Republican elites. And it is being fast rejected by the future grassroots of the parties. First of all, that's just wrong. By the polling data, the positions that we take here on the show are reflective of the broad majority of Republicans. That's just the reality. But
no, it's not. Your opinions do not they might reflect that of the Republican establishment, but certainly not the grassroots. Raiders, welcome in. Gabriel Gratia. Welcome, sir. Raiders, if it's your first time here, I am Lord Rexworth. I'm an English nobleman VTuber. And we're just doing some React Andy stuff. We spent probably a good 5.5 hours reacting to Shoe on Head. That's how long it took, because I kept going off on tangents. But yeah, now we've gone from the left-wing lolcow Hassan Piker to the right-wing lolcow, or at least the neocon lolcow of Ben Shapiro. But how was your stream? Let me get you some shout-outs here. Looks like you were playing some Repo. Fantastic. Glad to see that that stream went well. Been doing, noticing you're doing some practice streams there. Getting your feet wet. Really good. Get your practice in. Everyone, please
Cardinal. We now
What in the
turn
world?
to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse
2
Cardinal.
raids.
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal.
Not sure how you pulled that off, but thank you. But yes, everyone make sure you go follow Gabriel Gratia. Follow him across all the platforms he streams on, Twitch and YouTube.
Hello
I think
there.
you're on Kick. But yeah, how was Repo? Oh, thank you for the hydrate and stretch redeem, Hedo. How was Repo? Hopefully it went well. Hopefully the scuff was at a minimum. Actually just got in and heard you for the first time. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, it looks like everybody made it over. So if there was a glitch with the raid, I'm thinking everybody raided over. Party of 14 followed by party of 3. Scuff was serendipitous. You rarely hear Scuff being described as serendipitous, but it's refreshing. Repo was a lot of fun. That's good. That's good. That's good. Well, raiders, if any of you need to raid and run, I totally understand. But do exercise the normal after stream care. I'm sure you've been at it for several hours now, just like me. Do feel free to get up and stretch, grab something to eat, something to drink. Sort of refresh yourself. And yes, join me as we join the Roach King here in pointing and laughing at Ben Shapiro for being so defiantly silly. Doing it for quite some time. Thanks so much. Yes, absolutely. And again, thank you so much for the raid. Everybody, again, please make sure you're following Gabriel Gratia. Going to be joining him and Celestium and Ritzy VT and Just Joel and Tabatash. And we're going to be talking about another lol cow that has popped up in the VTubing sphere. We'll talk about that next weekend, especially after Celestium gets back from her IRL thing that she's at. Sure she'll have lots of stories to tell. Well, yeah, we'll be talking about that. Won't get into too many details because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, if you've been following the story, if you know, you know. But looking forward to that. Right, let's keep moving with the video here.
I figured that we should address all of this head on. So it's true. The Daily Wire laid off
Head on,
some
apply
13%
directly to the forehead.
workforce since the beginning of the year. And that really sucked. It was truly sad because all those people are great.
But what happens? Got some storms moving through here. And that was a really close by lightning strike. I don't know if any of you heard that on the microphone chat. Doesn't appear to be really broken up about that, though. He doesn't really appear to be broken up about that. Was it the weird static noise? Yeah, it's the attempt for the thunder to make it through, but processing in Streamlabs probably filtered out a good chunk of it. That was all I heard for like a split second. It was not even that high. It was kind of low.
Anytime, we're in business.
Not great
Anytime
enough.
you lay people off as a business, that really sucks. It's tough. It's
I had
bad
to
for
do
them.
layoffs.
It's bad
It's not
for us. And I'm personally working to find other places of employ for as many of these people as I possibly can, because everybody
Are you?
who we let go deserves a job somewhere else. They're great folks. But
I'm going to press X to doubt on that. It's easy to say something like that, but it's just I just don't know if I believe you.
for our critics, this was all cause for massive celebration. You know, the joyful popping of the corks, or maybe in the case of Nick Fuentes, a victory celebration with Catboys and lubricant.
I mean, there's always been suspicions about Nicholas. But yeah, and funny he mentions that because got the tweet right down there. Very simple. I won. It's like, did you though? Did you really? I kind of feel like it's both of you are just two retards fighting and no one's winning. It's not even a proper like Godzilla versus King Kong fight to a stalemate. It's just two retards fighting and they just kind of run out of breath and stop.
And listen, we're honored by the attention. See, here's the thing. People only tend to write stories like this about major American institutions, right? Like Amazon dumps people. It's a big story. Or the Washington Post dumps people, and that's a big story. And thank God we are a major American institution. According to PodTrack, our podcast reach is 41 million people per month. We're ranked 6th globally.
Wow.
We have a total
I mean, if I purchased enough bot followers and, you know, bot listeners and stuff like that, if I botted my streams and my podcast enough, I'm sure I could get those numbers bumped up. Going to lurk for a bit. God bless, Gabriel. Thank you so much again for the raid. I appreciate the lurkies as always.
of 11 shows. Paramount, to take an example from that same chart, is ranked 4th globally. They have 145 shows. So on a per capita basis, we're killing it. We are responsible for the 2 most successful conservative documentaries in history. Matt Walsh's Am I Racist and What is a Woman? Just this week,
yeah, I remember that.
Vice President Vance was
No, but that's Matt Walsh. That's not you.
quoting our reporting in his fraud investigations, and our White House correspondent, Mary Margaret Olahan,
Why
is in
does
the
it
press
sound
room
like
asking
DSP?
questions.
Does it?
Wait. Ben Shapiro would be DSP?
I don't know it. I don't know too much about Dark Side Phil. Mostly what I've learned from Primers about his encounters with side scrollers. But yeah, that kind of tracks. I could see that. I could see Ben Shapiro as a sort of Dark Side Phil type lolcow. They talk smack about each other like they were teen girls in high school. Did you hear Becky had a lube party? Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire floating on Matt Walsh's coattails at this point. Yeah, because of the people left at the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh is about the only person that's really worth watching or listening to. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to Ben Shapiro. I don't even like the guy. He just comes off as smarmy and a bit of an arsehole and annoying. It's one of those things like people have to like you in order to keep tuning in. And with Ben here, it just he's not very likable. He never has been. There's something about him that's just so fundamentally unlikable. He's not a very nice person.
He could be JSP.
Jew-side Phil.
Oh, bro.
Mind blown.
See, here's the thing. There's no national media coverage.
I don't even know what has become of Michael Knowles. My response to that is just simply, who cares? Matt Walsh is one of the only people most can name from there at this point besides Shapiro. Yeah.
If a top Candace Owens producer and her manager quit, or if Megyn Kelly's YouTube account starts shedding tens of thousands of subscribers a
I
month,
see that.
or if Tucker Carlson's traffic is disproportionately drawn from Pakistan.
Oh, my God.
We all have our fan base.
Yes.
Those are all things that actually happen, by the way. But nobody really cares very much because, yeah, those people have significant audience numbers, but they don't have any real institutional influence. They are not institutions. That's not true of the Daily Wire. We're big enough that people care when we trip up.
At one point, people like Tucker Carlson had the ear of Donald Trump. Not anymore, though. There's been a bit of a changing of the guard there to where the neocons have got his ear now. And I don't think that's really changed, at least not recently. So yeah, people like Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, all of them, they no longer really carry favor with the administration. Candace used to be an employee, now her channel is competing in size with the network, yeah. And it's amusing because I honestly view her with even less credibility than Ben Shapiro. This is someone that, that sort of postpartum mania has just set in, and she herself has turned into a lolcow. I think even Lauren Chen is making a comeback. Yeah, and hers was really just an abrupt fall because it was revealed that, yeah, indeed, she was taking money from the Russians or somebody like that, but has slowly come back. She's been mogged at least once by Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson's one of those people you can really quite steadily rely on to demonstrate to other people why we need to get as many women out of politics as possible. If you want to see that for yourself, and especially his whole thing about sewing circle Christians, which I think he's absolutely bang on about. Just watch any of his interviews with them, especially with women. And yeah, Lauren Chen, fairly bright girl, but even she was left admitting quite publicly in that debate stroke interview that it's like, yeah, I hadn't really formulated all of that. I hadn't really formulated out my arguments yet. The time to do that is before you get on stream or on video with someone like Andrew Wilson, and be grateful it was Andrew Wilson who was at least somewhat sympathetic and at least somewhat of an intellectual fellow traveler, or at least a political fellow traveler, because had you done that with an enemy, it would have ended quite badly for you. It would have ended quite badly for you. She admitted that on stream as payment for RT and other Russian TV and podcast appearances as a sort of American counter to Western MSM. So she was a panelist? Weird, but all right.
And of course, like any business, we have our ups, we have our downs.
This is actually a good response, what he's saying right here.
But as Mark Twain put it, the reports of our death are greatly exaggerated. But here's the thing. There is something else going on here. Something very clear going on here.
I mean, he probably has some access. I mean, Ben Shapiro comes from money. he comes from a fairly wealthy family. He is a nepo baby in his own right. He's got access to capital and probably can get access to certain choice loans that us Goyim could never even hope to get. So, yeah, he'll be all right. The Daily Wire will flounder along at the very least. I've seen her being a guest on shows like Crosstalk. Yeah, I mean, the thing about RT is that the programming it's not horrible. I know a lot of it has kind of dropped off ever since the Russia-Ukraine war started. I know when that started breaking out, the apps got banned. You really couldn't get RT programming in the US, the UK, anywhere like that. And also Kaiser Report with Max Kaiser got taken off and taken down. That was kind of the abrupt end to all of that. Though I think both him and his wife Stacy have show sort of survives as I think a podcast and videos uploaded somewhere, maybe to YouTube. I'm not sure. You can still watch RT, like on Rumble, for example. It's just they're kind of a shell of their former selves, and they have no. I don't think they really have any sort of American operations anymore, and certainly no operations left in Western Europe. Crosstalk with Peter Lavelle, Moscow Mules going underground. That was all interesting shows. A lot of it very much the typical kind of shit tier left wing takes that you would find most anywhere else. It's just how can we approach this from the kind of pro-Russian, anti-Western angle. Preferred it during the migrant crisis. They were leaning heavily against the Western media on the migrant crisis and narratives on social justice and censorship. He does have a YouTube channel, last I checked. Oh, good. They also had... oh, yes, that's right. When Larry King was still alive, they had his show carried on RT. I think Dennis Miller, when he had one of his chat shows, sort of a modern iteration of what he had on MSNBC, that was also carried on RT, very briefly. Now, before the Russia-Ukraine war broke out, they were on their way to building a really solid alternative lineup to what you were finding in American media, and even with, just European media. A good kind of third way alternative to your Foxes, CNNs, MSNBCs, Sky News, BBC, all of that. And then the war broke out and it all just sort of fell apart. More or less spiraled into left-wing nonsense. Same goes for Scott Ritter's channel. Compared to the beginning of the wars, where there's Daniel Davis, Judge Napolitano, that crowd, it's just not worthwhile anymore. Yeah, a lot of them have just kind of lost their way. I know when the war first broke out, one of the big things I turned to was a channel called the Duran. They were fairly decent. I just, as it kind of dragged on, I don't know. A lot of people just sort of lost interest. Like, can we just be done with this now? They've been mind broken and spout left wing nonsense. Yes, so many of them just fell off and just became indistinguishable from the rest of the kind of shit tier left wing crowd. Really hope GB News' decline stalls and they don't continue their slow descent. That can only happen if Reform releases their talons from the just control of everything. It's going to require them getting rid of Nigel Farage and to, I don't know, stop blackballing Restore Britain. I mean, that whole interview between Rupert Lowe and Jacob Rees-Mogg, that was not supposed to happen. And there was a point early on when Nigel Farage's influence was so strong that it would never have happened. But it shows that it's slipping a bit, but we're not there yet. Yeah, watch them too. Alex Mikiris, Alexander Christoforou. Yeah, lovely commentators, very insightful, very clever lads. But I don't know, it's grown a bit stale because for a long time, that's really all they've had to talk about is what's going on with the Russia and Ukraine war. And it's like, okay, it's at a stalemate. There's no new news other than, this drone attack happened here. This drone attack happened there. And it's just pot shots across the Russia-Ukraine border now. Everything's at a stalemate. Nothing's getting resolved. I don't know, for me, I just... It all just got a bit too depressing, I think, when Coach Red Pill died. And he was one of those that it's just... I think it was pretty foolish for him to try and stick around Ukraine for the content, as it were. He really should have just gotten out of there. Especially after the first time he was in prison. Because he had to have known he wasn't safe there, and he should have left. I remember him, Scott Ritter was very angry with him towards the end now, acts regrettable about it. Yeah, I mean, Coach Red Pill, he was on the ground. He knew what was going on. He was seeing it for himself firsthand. He was probably one of the few trustworthy accounts of what was happening. And, I don't know, you need to know when to get out of Dodge. And he could have made an escape, headed west towards Belarus, Poland, anywhere. Anywhere would have been better than hanging around in Ukraine. And I believe he was in the heart of things in Kiev, and he just didn't. He's like, I got to see this all the way through to the end. And it's like, brother man, you are going to die if you stick around. And what do you know? They nabbed him off the street again, threw him in prison, and they killed him. They killed him while he was in prison. As to be expected with these types, they don't fuck around with that sort of thing. He really should have left. Had he left, he would still be alive. He was initially friendly with the government, and then began voicing regime-critical opinions in the last days before his first arrest, then tried the same after being released. You know, it's like, dude, then they don't respect that sort of thing like free speech. That sort of concept for the Russians or the Ukrainians, for a lot of people in the Eastern Bloc, they don't have any concept of that sort of thing. The Enlightenment and the Renaissance, that did not happen in their part of the world. For them, you do not criticize the ruling government like that. Not if you want to live. If he wanted to keep doing that, he should have fled to Poland, to the Czech Republic. Literally anywhere would have been better than sticking around Ukraine in the middle of a war. Patrick Lancaster's still in Ukraine, looking like he doesn't belong there. Kind of funny to watch his channel. Yeah. And if some of the recent headlines are to be believed, there's a lot of people that don't look like they belong there that have been flooded into Ukraine because, you know, that's what happens when you send off your able-bodied young men and even a lot of your old men to die in a pointless war. He's right next to Donbass troops during firefights, following way too close to the front. I don't know how he does it. I certainly couldn't do that. Oh, so Coach Red Pill, he did try to get out. He tried to get out on a bike and was caught by border troopers, executed like a week later. He had his chance. He should have left after they released him. And probably should have been a lot more clever about that sort of thing. Yeah, some people are just completely without survival instinct or environmental awareness. A lot of streamers are like that. They don't seem to have any survival instincts. And war zones like that is no place for, not really much of a place for people to be streaming. I understand it's important from a journalism standpoint to try and get the story, especially if legacy media is not covering it in an honest way. But you also have to exercise some sort of discretion, some sort of caution, because it does you no good to try and report the story, and you're not going to be able to report the story if you get blown up on a battlefield. With threads on 4chan and other places following and tracking his locations down during his attempted flight on bike. That was what probably got him killed. It's in moments like that you go dark, chuck your phone away, and just hide out. Try and wait for some of the heat to die down. Make a break for it, if and when you can. Remember his dad being on a ton of different streams in the weeks afterwards, crying over it. I mean, who wouldn't be? It's something that'll make any father weep. Their child dying before they did. That's always a horrible tragedy. A ton of Ukrainian flags towards the last hour in those threads. Yeah, sending a message. Instead of the Sicilian message, it's the Ukrainian message.
The media left, and the woke right, that'd be like Candace and Fuentes and Tucker and Megan, all of them. Together, the new left. They are attempting to destroy traditional conservatism. That's the whole thing here. See, the Daily Wire is the largest traditional...
Because you guys can't stop talking about Israel. That's the problem. Whenever you're saying...
it's not even real conservatism. It's just Zionism. It's just neoconservatism, which is the same as neoliberalism, which is the same as just the Uniparty. Of course we want that sort of thing destroyed. Because again, it's not our fucking sandbox. It's not our problem, and you keep making it our problem. And we're really growing tired of it. It's like, you people have your own money, you have your own weaponry, fight your own battles. Fight your own battles. Stop making it everybody else's problem. Learn to make peace with your neighbors. Those that won't make peace, be prepared to fight a war and fight it to win. But stop making it everybody else's problem. Because we're tired of it, and we're tired of having to pay for it. We're tired of our tax dollars going to foreign aid to places like Israel and other countries, when we've got homeless people dying from fentanyl overdoses, and homeless veterans who are failing to be integrated back into civilian life. We've got our own problems to deal with that, you know, I'm sorry, they're more important than whatever is of a threat to Israel at the moment. It's like, you people just need to deal with your own problems and stop bothering us about it.
Like, Benjamin Netanyahu should be president of the world. That's gonna be weird. Like, I'm like,
yeah, it's a bit
white
weird, man.
American guy, right? Like, that's weird for me to hear.
Yeah, I don't want Benjamin Netanyahu to be the world president. I mean, given the fact that he's fighting a war to kind of distract from the fact that he's been caught up in this massive corruption scandal, I think is really quite telling. They would love for us to forget about all of that. They'd love for us to forget about how they're claiming that they'll shell out $7,000 to influencers to say nice things about Israel and about Bibi Netanyahu, and then they'll fuck over the same people and say, "What's 7,000? What are you talking about? $5,000? What do you want $4,000 for? Can't believe you're hassling me over $2,000. Help, police! This person's harassing me over $1,000. You'll be hearing from my solicitor about the $7,000 you owe me."
I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I thought this guy was the fucking prime minister of Israel. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Straw man, though? I think that this is what my opinion is. I think that the conservative movement has had so many victories so fast that it doesn't know what to do with itself.
It's a frequent problem with the right wing, to the point where it's become just a sad joke of, don't even bother giving them power. They don't know what to do with it anyway. Because so often they start babbling on about some non-existent moral high road, and how they're somehow above using the left's tactics against them. That, you know, oh, that's not the proper way of doing things. Especially American politicians. Oh, that's not the American way. Your enemies don't give a shit about what the American way is. They wipe their ass with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You might as well just seize and wield power and use it to reward your friends and crush your enemies. God knows the left will do that every time. And yet so many people on the right never beating those allegations of being controlled opposition because they just simply don't have the balls to seize and wield power and use it to at least crush their enemies, to say nothing of rewarding their friends.
I think that they have had such a resounding, ridiculous cultural sweep that they don't even know how to accommodate it. Like,
they may have achieved a few victories at the ballot box, but we still have a long march through the institutions to do. Leftists still infest most of the major corporations, most of the major institutions, most of the major NGOs, and they are a major faction in the civil service of most governments. Until they are purged, we may have won the battle, but we have not yet won the war. We're scoring some critical victories in the culture war. We still have not captured the institutions. Until we do that, we've not won the war. I think too many people are falling to the temptation to rest on their laurels in these moments. They think, oh, Trump won, that's it, game over. No. There's still a lot of work to be done. Just woke up, what's up, gang? Gratia Ray. Welcome in, Greenlock.
They deleted DEI, like fucking 11.
No. DEI has not been deleted, it has gone underground. Someone who worked for a large corporation sat in the meetings. They told us, we are just waiting for this administration to leave, and then we're going back to being full retard on the DEI shit. Right now, we're taking it off the website. We're not going to call it DEI, but we're still doing DEI because we don't care what the administration says, because fuck Donald Trump. My job literally as a DEI committee. Yeah, they haven't gone anywhere. They've just gone underground. They've just taken the name off the door. It's still active. You can ban DEI, they'll just call it something else. Until you purge them from the institutions, it's not going anywhere. We did, but C and D. What about A? Didn't you hear me? We did B, C, and D. Why aren't you happy? Yeah. It's like, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. It's good that you got C and D. We need A and B. So you're not finished. And you're not going to be able to negotiate your way downward. And the longer this drags out, the higher the bar gets set, and the more that people are going to demand from you. And this whole petty approach by President Trump and everybody else of getting a bit pissy with the very people who elected him to office, of, why aren't you happy about all this stuff? It's like, well, you're not done yet, Mr. President. You were sent to Washington to do certain things, A, B, C, and D. You got C and D done. You're not finished. We need A and B, and we don't want to hear the excuses of why you can't get it done. And we're also not here to entertain your insults against us. This is not a negotiation. This is an ultimatum. Get it done, or get out. It's like I've said before, with so-called conservatives who conserve nothing, who constantly cuck on everything. I make it very simple for them. You will either play to win and actually win, or you will no longer be permitted to play. You will be cleared off the playing field. You cuck, you lose. Simple as. And if more people would take that merciless attitude with this lot, imagine what we could get done. Imagine what we could get done if more people took that merciless, single-minded, almost autistic level of focus of you cuck, you lose, you will play to win and actually win, or you will no longer be permitted to play. Imagine what we could get done. I feel like people like Fuentes aren't looking to win anymore. They want accelerationism. Yes, they do. I think Fuentes has made that, and the Groypers have made that abundantly clear. They are all about accelerationism, which means cucking, which means losing. And it never works out that way. There's never really this grand reset where all of a sudden they find themselves on top again and we win. It's like accelerationism, everything collapses, ... we win. No, that's not how any of that works. You have a rubble pile that oftentimes just gets taken over by leftist warlords and authoritarian warlords, and people like the Groypers and Nick Fuentes are the first to be lined up and shot. It never works out like that. He declared like 5 months ago he was the head of the accelerationist right in America and more broadly NATO in the Western Hemisphere. He is effectively declaring himself an enemy and agent saboteur then, because it's not going to end the way he thinks it will. He said that on stream on Rumble while saying most established right-wing commentators are gay men. I mean, he's right, but for all the wrong reasons in some senses. There's a lot of right-wing commenters that really are closeted homosexuals. There's also a lot of homosexual left-wing commentators, or at least officially they're homosexuals, but they're actually just closeted heterosexuals. And both sides just can't really admit to what they are and just be that. They believe they'll rule over the ashes and the survivors. Yes, quite the deluded dolt indeed. They all think that they're going to be able to rule over the ashes, over the rubble pile, and they won't. Because there's always going to be someone who is more merciless and bloodthirsty than them. Especially someone like Fuentes. Are you kidding me? He's a punk. He's a punk in the end. And he's absolutely going to be made someone's little bitch. He doesn't stand a chance. He would have Groypers infiltrate and saboteur from within MAGA, the Republican Party, TPUSA. Yeah, and the sad thing is he's one of the few people out there that's telling young men to get involved in politics and try to infiltrate large organizations like the Republican Party, because everyone else just wants to rage impotently on the internet. Instead, he has people in all TPUSA branches across America ready to undermine it and push America into the furnace of collapse. In some ways, I think he might be inflating his power and influence, but I don't put it past him. He said Charlie Kirk was the right man for the wrong era, and he could never succeed in his goal, and that his death is a gift to the true right. I mean, he's a martyr. Charlie Kirk was a martyr for the right. Trouble is, that's another thing. It's like Sam Hyde said, we had a set amount of time to actually do something and lock in victories and gains. And true to form, the right wing just pissed away the opportunity. That's why I don't call myself a conservative anymore, because they conserve nothing. I hesitate to even call myself right-wing anymore. Really, if anything, I'm just a dissident at this point. I'm just a dissident. Politically homeless to a certain extent because I see the pathway. I see the pathway to victory, a sort of general broad pathway, and we can't get there because both sides are retarded, and the people pulling the strings, we have not purged them from their positions of power. And as I've said so many other times before, what we want is going to require unfathomable levels of things we can't even legally talk about on stream. That is how late the hour is. And so many people have not woken up to just how late the hour is. Hence why we keep losing.
Did Donald Trump again? They're going after, like, you can just openly say that you want to deport every illegal alien and you don't care about separating families. You want to deport legal aliens, right? Like, I mean, there has been so much, like, you can say how many genders there are again, everything. So what happened, I think, is that they had so much winning that it actually, like, broke their brains. And so instead of focusing on the common issues
definitely not
of, like,
used
the
to winning
common
much of
enemy,
anything.
they effectively...
You've got a lot of people on the right that think it's somehow morally wrong for them to win. Again, never beating the controlled opposition allegations of just being cucks because they want to be beautiful losers. It's like, if your principles require you to keep losing, what good are your principles? If you're unwilling to fight as dirty as the enemies are, how do you expect to win? Oh, that's the neat part. You don't, because you can't.
broke the common enemy. And instead of focusing on the residual issues after that, like, you know, for example, like the residual trans kids issues, etc., they started focusing on each other. I think that's what happened. It is.
Conservative media company in the digital space by like a ton, by leaps and bounds. We are multiple times the size of any of these others. We have lots of conversations on our platform between our various hosts about topics ranging from AI to the Middle East, and Catholicism and Judaism and all of it. There's a lot of rich disagreement here at the Daily Wire. But in the end, what we stand for here at the Daily Wire is pretty simple. Truth and virtue and freedom. And that is what the new left, meaning, you know, the old left and the horseshoe right,
I don't think
would
that's
love
what you
to
really
destroy.
stand for.
It's why the attacks have been coming fast and furious for weeks now. They want to destroy traditional conservatism. It is their goal in life. They want to
they want to destroy neoconism, neoconservatism, neoliberalism, because it's wrought so many of the problems we're facing right now of either tax and spend or cut taxes while raising spending, which drives inflation, and forever wars and invade the world policies that forever alter the demographics of Western countries and put white people on a path to extinction through replacement migration, which is really nothing more than white genocide. Vivian Moon, welcome in. How you doing?
Right for a couple of different reasons. The left for one reason, the woke right for another. In our supposed vulnerability, people from Nick Fuentes to Tucker, from Candace Owens to New York Magazine, from the Washington
Stormwalker, thank you for the follow.
Post to Megyn Kelly, they see an opportunity to supplant traditional conservatism.
I do think that a lot of it is definitely they're doing it to be. It's like it's opportunistic. They're doing it because they want to take advantage of the fact that, you know, they think Ben Shapiro is losing his audience. He
is, mainly because the audience never existed in the first place, because he's been botting his videos and inflating his follow count. But also, they are sharks that smell blood in the water. Weakness is provocative. And right now, Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire are showing weakness.
Here's the reality. A lot of the traffic for news channels and everything has gone down massively.
Because people are tired of the same message. They're tired of these legacy media messages. Because all they have are establishment narratives. People don't believe that anymore. People do not believe those messages anymore, those narratives. They want something different. They want an alternative. They even want a dissident voice. I wouldn't go so far as to call Asmongold a dissident voice, but he's certainly a reasonable alternative to what you would find on the Boomer News channels.
It's gone down with everything. And do you know why? It's because nothing's happening. That's the reason why.
That's another thing. Everything is happening within decades, happening in matters of days or weeks, and also nothing is happening at the same time. It is just this whirlwind of frenetic inactivity. It seems like a whirlwind of things are happening, and then all of a sudden it's just nothing ever happens, bro. And the whiplash is just growing tiresome for a lot of people.
And this has happened for people like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro. It's happened for me with my videos about this. It's just in general, because I think people, like, everything is now kind of at a stasis point, and there's nothing that's crazy that's happening.
Yeah.
That's not
it's a lull in the news cycle to an extent, which is why you've seen me having to, turn to other items in the news that normally I couldn't be bothered with.
big deal. Sometimes a lot is happening, sometimes not a lot is happening. That doesn't mean that, like, you're failing.
It happens.
That just means that at a certain point, whenever your attention is built around current events and there are no high, intensity current events that are happening, you're not going to have as many people paying attention. And that's the reason why media tries to create all of these controversies. It's because the media wants to keep people paying attention. And I don't think that's a big deal. It's really not.
They get paid. They keep the lights on through their sponsors, but their sponsors have to have eyeballs on their product and also buying product in order to keep the lights on at the sponsors so that they can keep supplying ad revenue to the news networks. They're not going to get that if the content is boring, and especially if people don't trust them. And that's been the big thing in the past 5 to 10 years. Is people have just lost a lot of trust with legacy media outlets, with most media outlets. People are now seeking out alternative sources and doing the best they can to do their own homework and find new outlets and new voices that they trust. They're not finding it in the legacy outlets anymore. They're finding it through people like Asmongold and, to a much smaller extent, myself.
A lot happening, though? Not really. There's nothing that's like, well, what's really happening right now that's...
Ben Shapiro represents the old guard masquerading as new media with the Daily Wire. He's just more of the same tired old establishment voices, and we're sick of it. We don't want to hear that sort of thing anymore. We're done.
Interesting. You have the Iran standstill, right? There's like an armistice, basically, that nobody knows what's going to happen. They're like kind of just playing games behind some kind of...
Nobody's really winning. Nobody's really losing.
It's
just
the China,
we're in the holding pattern.
I'm being honest, right? Let's wait a couple months. Midterms will peak it again. Yeah, I mean, if you... Cuba, nobody cares about that. People don't really care about that much. Like, we're not even doing anything with Cuba. Trump meeting with China.
Cuba is still... and forever has been on the verge of complete and total collapse. All they need is just a little push and the whole thing will fall. They're finished.
What does that mean, though? Like, I mean, again, these aren't things that engage the average and the general population into politics. That's the point that I'm making. Whenever, like, a political season is in swing, right? So you have, like, the midterms and especially the presidential election. That's whenever you have everybody talking about these topics and, leading up to it and then following it about how it's resolved. And so when you don't have that, there has to be something else. But sometimes there's not. Ben is pissed on X, though. Yeah, these are normal things. Yeah, things go up, they go down. And yeah, that's it. It happens every time. So the amount of, again, popularity people have is going to be derived from what they're covering. It's the same as like any video game, for example. If you're talking about video games all the time and there's no interesting video games that are out, then you're not going to have as many people that are watching your show. But if, like, I mean, look at World of Warcraft. Like, a new WoW expansion comes out, every WoW streamer has a fucking, what do you call it? They have like an increase in viewership, and it's the same with any game. So this is just normal. And I think that it's one of the big differences where it separates people that are doing things opportunistically versus people that are doing things because they have like an investment and they care about it. Because if the only thing that you care about is getting more people to watch, then that's what's going to happen.
Things that actually happen, by the way, but nobody really cares very much because, yeah, those people have significant audience numbers, but they don't have any real institution. Spiritorial, grievance-addled, nutty version of populism. Or, in Megan's case, just make some quick clicks and cash. It's a lucrative grift. It's a dangerous grift for America. So, why is this happening? Well, obviously, for the media left, we get it. We get it. For the media left, we get it. They're always happy to run this grift because they love a right that is crazy. They don't want a right that is
Little Benny Boy here is using the term grift in a very similar way that we would hear from any sort of leftist or shitlib. That should tell you something. I remember it being mentioned on radio pre-pandemic. Castro's son said Cuba needs to loosen up ideologically when it comes to economics, the economy, and American relations. Then I never heard about it again. Yeah, probably because he got muzzled by the whole Politburo or political establishment there in Havana, who are just like, no, we like our little gravy train here. We like ruling over this little island rubble pile, and we're not going to upset the apple cart here and start doing a bunch of changes that we don't know how to adapt to, and that might, upset our little racket.
characterized by normie beliefs. They want a right that's nuts, because the easiest way to make AOC president in the 2028 election is to have that nutty lady run against a conservative movement.
If you think that hag is going to beat Marcus Rubius, you're out of your mind.
Or even J.D. Vance, who still has potential to run as president after Donald Trump. You put any of them up against AOC, they're going to win. They're going to win. It's just, if that's the best that Democrats have to offer, it really is the Republicans' race to lose. Because it's not difficult to give her the Hillary Clinton treatment and just make her look batshit insane, or to make her look like an idiot. Give her this cross between the Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris treatment. It's not hard to do at all. The same logic extends to the midterms. I still think there is a possibility, at least. I don't know how strong, but still a possibility that Republicans can at least maintain seats, possibly make some gains. If only by just the simple fact that Democrats are still absolutely batshit insane, and that's turning off so many normie voters out there. I think it's the same with 2028. You put up anyone, the best they have to offer, whether it is Gavin Newsom or AOC or some combination of that ticket, or running Kamala Harris again. I don't know why you would do that. Just whoever they can come up with on the Democrat side, compare it to Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, any of those, or some combination of that ticket. The Rubios and the Vances end up winning, if only because they just look less batshit insane compared to their Democrat opponents. Alejandro Castro Espín, son of former Cuban leader Raul Castro, has talked favorably about the idea of negotiations with the U.S. It might be that he is eyeing a position of power, and the Americans have been fairly clear in their strategy of they're going to leave most of the old regime in place, but just cut off the head, replace it with people that are willing to do business with them. So it's possible they do that, install him as the new leader with a new regime. He talks center on opening up Cuba's economy in exchange for amnesty for the Castro family. And Trump and the American government are, at this point, I think, open to something like that. That would not surprise me. Does seem to be the case. He was told to shut up and was put in house arrest by the old guard. Yeah. Now they've got their racket and their power base to protect. And that all gets put in danger by opening things up and talking with the Americans and going capitalist, as it were.
Like, you're actually retarded. She's not gonna. Are you kidding me? There's no way.
It is focused on Brigitte Macron's testicles or demon attacks.
The only people that AOC could get to vote for her are certain Hispanic voting blocs, women, just, the usual suspects, but I don't think it would be enough to put her over the top. I certainly don't think they have enough electoral votes to carry her over to victory, as it stands right now. There'd be too many of what remains of the middle that would take one look at her and just say, nope, seems a bit too much like Kamala Harris. Seems a bit too batshit crazy. Got those crazy eyes going on. Who's on the other side? Yeah, we'll go with them. It really is just a sad race to the bottom in American politics at this point.
In the wilds of Maine,
It's not
or
gonna
why
happen.
the Jews are responsible for your incurable gingivitis and horrific body odor and inability to get a date.
Sure you're not talking about yourself, mate? I mean, it's like, have you had your teeth checked lately? Also, seems like a subtle dig at Asman there. What are you trying to say, mate? It feels a bit called out. Feeling a bit called out, are you?
What? Who is this fucking guy?
Yeah.
Who's this fucking asshole? What the fuck is?
Now, as for the woke right,
Never got Shapiro's fixation on gingers. I never knew he had a fixation on gingers. I did not know that. Maybe he's got a thing. Maybe it's a fetish with him. Who knows?
You know, the new left, again, that would be Fuentes and Tucker and Candace and company. They're ecstatic about all of this for both business and political reasons. One, they're our competition. But second, they want to tear down traditional conservatism. Their whole goal is to cannibalize
No, again, we just want to tear down neoconservatism, neoliberalism, because it's not real. It's a fucking AstroTurf-controlled opposition movement. Your containment, and the only thing you've ever really cared about is wars in the sandbox. And we don't care about your wars in the sandbox. The sandbox can fight its own wars. You people can sort that out amongst yourselves. We want to take care of our own on the home front. We are done with your Timu knockoff brand of conservatism. He throws comments in about gingers every now and again. It's weird. Might be a barely disguised fetish with him.
conservative audience.
I love how I'm never categorized as a political creator because everybody has rightfully clocked me as just a cannibalistic, opportunistic vulture that loves watching people suffer, and I love farming other people's problems for content. It has nothing to do with any, like, yes, there's an ideology that drives this, but yeah.
There are, by all available metrics, a hell of a lot more traditional conservatives and rational people in this country than nuts.
Yes.
But their goal is to gut the conservative movement and then turn it
That's
into a
not
skin
his
suit
sister.
for their own perverse
I know who you're
politics.
talking about. It's
That's
not
the
his
whole
sister.
thing, which is why many of them are now coming out as
checked.
Democrats. That unity is the thing. That unity is the thing. This is why Russia Today is the official outlet for the Kremlin. Right? It is run by the Russian government, is retweeting Nick Fuentes' triumphalism today. Fuentes tweeted out, I won, after that New York Magazine piece came out. And Fuentes won. Well, I don't know.
Oh, no.
Living in your
Can't have
basement
that.
and streaming for 8 hours a day while jacking off to the Catboys.
Okay.
It's a form of winning, I said. All right, I mean, whatever floats your boat, my dude. You might call the Russia Today Fuentes get-together an online Molotov-Ribbentrop pact.
Does Nick Fuentes even care what RT has to say about him? I don't think he cares. He doesn't seem like the type that would care. He's like, oh, cool, bro. Anyway, which, I mean, totally correct response for that sort of thing is like, oh, well, all right. Somehow I don't think he's a Russophile. And you pointing this out of, oh my God, the Russian said something nice about Nick Fuentes. That means he must be the bad guy. No, not how that works. Also, what's with the anti-Russian hate? Don't understand that. What do the Russians do to you? Oh, okay, yeah, got it. Historical blood feud and all that good stuff. Yeah, got it. Okay. Anyway, my sister's a doctor, Ben Shapiro, followed by a picture of her in his videos for no reason, because he knows people gravitate towards images of the Khazar milkers. This guy only has insults. Yeah, just like Hassan Piker. The only thing Ben has is these snarky little insults. It's not even a real argument. It's easy to punch down at people younger than you who haven't quite formulated or articulated what their political philosophies are. That's easy. That's fish in a barrel. That's fish in the barrel. It's quite another thing to go up against people that are your intellectual equals or even intellectual superiors. Which, I mean, if Nick Fuentes is Ben Shapiro's intellectual superior, we really are in trouble. I think the largest amount of views he got in recent years was when Two Set Violin destroyed his violin playing with facts and logic. He spoke with less small voice than he does now. It was more normal when he started out. Early on, he would gradually speed up during debates, resulting in this weird voice, which is just his speaking voice now. Yeah, I've always been very suspicious of fast-talking people. If you have to talk really fast, you are probably hiding something, and you're hoping that people don't pick up on the fact that you are hiding something. You're trying too hard to hide whatever it is that you're hiding. So I'm near instantly suspicious of people who talk too quickly. That's why I try to slow it down as well. I know when I get a little bit nervous, I tend to start speaking quickly, though it's not necessarily because I have anything to hide. It's more because I just, part of me doesn't want to give off that impression. It's one of those things of you project more confidence with a more metered pacing, with a more steady pacing, and keeping yourself coherent enough to where people can pick up on every syllable of every word.
Well, it's also why the Washington Post is happy to quote Candace Owens, the ranting bag lady of the internet, to explain that the Daily
That was good.
Wire's numbers are down. Again, that alliance...
It's clever quip,
crazy
but
that he called Candace Owens a ranting bag lady and Megyn Kelly a click whore.
I mean, in some ways, he's not wrong, but again, name calling is not an argument. It's like, why are they wrong, Ben? Where are they going wrong? It's like the more you just call names and try to move on from that and talk fast, it's like the less credible you seem. And it is, especially, you see this quite often with people. Even Nuxtaku has fallen into this sort of intellectual trap, or lack thereof, of not taking your opponents so seriously to the point where that's all you have to offer is just ridicule and name calling, and not really making the counter argument of, okay, they're wrong and here's why. This is one of those instances where you do need to explain yourself. You need to show your work. And if you can't do that, then you're not helping your cause. And you need to do it without emotional manipulation, without excessive name calling. We need to do the whole thing of facts and logic, like Ben Shapiro is trying to make a name for himself. It's like Destiny, but I think Destiny's is drug-related. Oh, more than likely it is. My dog ate my words, Shapiro probably.
This is... wow. See, we got to get more to this.
between the left and the woke right is totally real, and it's active.
Yeah.
This is why they are getting together to formulate stories. It is why they are repeating the same talking points. Now, Candace says that the Daily Wire's numbers are down because people don't want to be...
Also, this whole thing about the woke right is a complete and total misnomer. There's no such thing as the woke right. They call it that because a lot of these people have sort of realized that racial identity is a thing and that it's okay to advocate for white people and white interests. That's why they get called woke right, because they take identity politics and apply the same standards in reverse. I was wondering where woke right came from. Yeah, it's anybody who advocates for white people and white interests, even remotely, they get called woke right. Because that's the one thing that people like Ben Shapiro cannot stand, is white people advocating for their own self-interests.
Lectured. And this is the teenage point of view from Candace and Megyn and Tucker. They're all saying the same thing. They don't want to be lectured. Don't lecture me. Megyn tweeted in March 2026, "You're the coward, Ben, and your moral preening, priggish lectures and holier-than-thou judgments are the reason you are losing fans, and more than that."
I mean, is she wrong, though? It's like you're poking fun and doing this overly dramatic reading of a hate tweet, but I'm not hearing you say anything about her being wrong, though. I remember the mainstream media randomly began using it before the election. Yeah, it was a thing that sort of originated in a lot of neocon circles, which woke right is anything that is not only advocates for sort of a pro-white interest, but also happens to be in any way, shape, or form critical of Israeli foreign policy or Zionism. Anything that in any way questions or criticizes that, which is just the thing that they don't fucking get. Every time that they just have these emotional outbursts blowing up over this sort of thing, it only makes them look worse. These sorts of emotional temper tantrums, and every time their first reaction is, "Oh my God, it's another Shoah. Oh my God, it's another Holocaust." It's like, no. Deep breaths. Calm down, please. No one, and I mean no one, is above criticism. No one is above someone asking the hard questions. And if you can't tolerate something like that without losing your shit, it becomes a problem for you. And people start to ask the questions of, why are you reacting like this? And also, are you hiding something? What's going on here? Well, what's the real reason here? You got something to share with the class? The worst thing you can do in situations like that is to lose your cool. And so many people be they Israelis, Jews, Zionists. If that's your common refrain, it keeps hurting you. The best thing you can do is stay calm and, yes, try to be the reasonable person in the conversation. You can actually win the PR war with your critics by the simple virtue of just appearing to be the only reasonable person in the conversation. It's almost like an Alaskan ear pull, where the first person who flinches, who pulls away, loses. It's a battle of wits, not just a battle of who can endure the pain in the freezing cold. And if you can keep your poker face on you, never bend, never break, always keeping your cool, and even keeping a smile on your face, you can win. When people in the neocon camp, in the Israeli camp, in the Zionist camp can learn to do that, they can win. And not in the ham-fisted way either. They can win bigly, and they can win brilliantly. I've yet to see anyone in that camp that can do that, because every time it's just so much easier for them to lose their shit and start talking about, oh, it's another Shoah, oh, it's another Holocaust. It's like, no, that's not how you handle that. That's only going to raise more suspicions. Just stay calm. Be cool, bro. Law of chill vibes. Don't harsh the vibes. The other side's trying to harsh the vibes. You keep offering up chill vibes, you'll win. You will win handily. I'd like to advocate for the melanin-blind Western culture system. I wish they could be replaced with a neon-con camp or a nyan-con camp. Get rid of the neocon camp, give us something fun. Yes. Give us cat girls to debate with. We want anime cat girl waifus to debate with. That would be more fun. Elon Musk needs to hurry the fuck up with the cat girls.
At Friends at a record rate. All these people are on the same script. They're all on the same script. And also,
you know what I hate to say? I kind of respect Ben for doing this. I do.
Do you?
I'm not like a huge Ben Shapiro fan.
I don't think any of us are.
He's held frame on this.
Anybody who admits to being a huge Ben Shapiro fan, yeah, they cringe. That's pretty gay and cringe, man.
The entire time, he's right. Yeah. He knows it's over. But the thing is that, like, it might be over for him, but even if it's over for him, he's going out on his own terms. He is, but like, I do think that if his subscribers go,
I mean, when you really are a massive nepo baby and part of a people and a country that is like most favored, God's chosen people like that, I mean, you can afford to. You can afford to. Even if all of the Daily Wire were to just come crashing down tomorrow, he would very easily be able to pick himself up, dust himself off, and go find something else to run into the ground. Ben Shapiro is going to be just fine. Cat girls, it was promised to us 8 years ago. I thought it was more like 3,000 years ago.
down, he should make the hat smaller.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't wear... I mean, can you really have
Smaller
that
hat,
big of a
man.
hat if you're losing that many subs? I mean, come on.
You're called the tiny hat crowd for the reason, man.
because it's
The hubcap hat is a bit too gettish.
people who traffic
It's
and
misleading.
crap for
Yes.
sweet lucre, they would
Very
love to be
misleading.
spared the lecture. They don't want to be lectured as they grift.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to do the same thing that, you know, a 13-year-old boy would do if caught doing naughty things on his iPad.
What?
They don't want to be lectured. Don't you lecture me. Well, it turns out sometimes in life, people need lectures in decency, in reason, and in truth. You know,
And so far, you've offered none of those things, Ben. You have offered none of those things. So, yeah, why don't you just spit us the lecture? And that's the thing. You haven't stopped lecturing us for years now. And we're just really tired of it. We're just really tired of it. And we don't want to listen to you anymore. We just want you to slink back to whatever it is you slinked away from. Just go away. Just go away. Live a quiet life. Live a quiet life. Enjoy your life with your wife and family. And just go away.
people who smear the wives of murdered men or cover for people who smear for the wives of murdered men.
Talk about
Those people deserve lectures.
Yeah.
Maybe the people who revive Nazi propaganda.
Oh,
I mean, maybe if the wives of those murdered men would stop trying to run their organization into the ground and just stop acting so fucking weird. It's like, I've got nothing but sympathy for Erika Kirk, but she also doesn't really do herself any favors at times. And you step out into public life like this after having been kind of in the background for a long time. This is to be expected. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. But again, another example of we need to get as many women out of politics as possible because they're not helping things. This increasingly gynocentric world that we find ourselves in is not sustainable. It can't last. Civilizations crumble when women are given equality in the franchise. It's been historically proven we can't survive. And in order for civilization to survive, we're going to have to say no to women and hurt their feelings, and possibly even say a few other mean things to them. We're going to have to be the arsehole here and do the hard things. That's the price you pay for the preservation of civilization. But WWE-like shows are a bit weird for a woman in mourning. Yes, sparklers and pyrotechnics. I think even... Didn't they have those at Charlie Kirk's memorial service? Which kind of felt more like a mega church gathering than anything else. That was a bit much. It lacks the dignity of Queen Victoria's mourning. Looks bad even next to Nancy Reagan. I remember the funeral for Ronald Reagan. It was a really big to-do, but even that was incredibly tasteful and quite moving. Charlie Kirk's memorial had its moments, but I think a bit marred by things like the pyrotechnics and, even to a certain extent, what seemed a bit performative of Erica Kirk coming out and saying, I forgive the killer of Charlie Kirk and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you just took the air out of a lot of people's sails. You just deflated the fighting spirit that had popped up that we could have taken advantage of and used. You've just basically let a crisis go to waste when you could have gotten so much more done. But no, you wanted to do this performative high road thing. And to a lot of people's credit, they were just like, she might forgive him, but we don't. We're not there yet. We might never be there. We want heads to roll. That was the right attitude to take. And I think that was the thing that a lot of people on the left and in the Uniparty feared the most. Hence why her coming out and saying, I forgive Charlie Kirk's killer was so necessary for them. Princess Diana was very tasteful. People were very mean to Queen Elizabeth. Yes, well, Elizabeth was quite adamant that, she's no longer a part of the family. They were divorced. Basically, it's like she was out, and that was it. And it caused a sort of crisis of confidence and a crisis of legitimacy with the crown, which people were right to tell us, like, if you don't do something, have some sort of national time of mourning and a proper memorial for her, you might as well just abdicate the throne at this point, because they will never trust you or look at you with any sort of respect or legitimacy ever again. St. Olga of Kiev is a prime example of a saintly widower's wrath, yeah.
Maybe the people who have a weird interest in the non-existent testicles of the spouses of French politicians. Or maybe the people who make a cause.
I think that if Ben Shapiro was slightly more charismatic, he could totally wipe the floor with these people. Because he's right.
Yes.
When you have a ranting bag, like the ranting bag lady who's talking about whether the wife of the Prime Minister of France has a dick or not. And
so much of that seems like a red herring. It's like, cool story, bro, but what does it matter in the grand scheme of things? How does this get establishment politicians unseated from power? How does this get leftists purged from institutions and get our people into power? How do we benefit from any of this? It just seems like a massive distraction.
And then she's also talking about talking to a person in a dream. And then after that, what was the other one?
With, actual Nazi stands. Maybe those people deserve it.
Yeah. Oh, with Erica Kirk trying to get her husband killed. I mean, really?
Sure.
It's pathetic.
Maybe the people.
Yeah, I find that difficult to believe that Erica Kirk was trying to kill her own husband. I've never bought into something like that. I think conspiracy theories like that are kind of set up as almost like a agent saboteur type activity to sort of delegitimize dissonant right-wing voices. You see that a lot. So much of the right wing has just been so totally infiltrated by by bad actors like that. But I do think that Erika Kirk is just fumbling a lot of things, committing a lot of unforced errors, and she's really not doing herself or TPUSA any favors here.
Or repeating talking points from
Eisman's strongest roach, welcome in. It comes from Candace Owens needing something crazy to say, so ridiculous. I don't think she's a legitimate actor in this sort of thing. I don't even regard her as right wing. I think she still has too many left wing bona fides to be anything considered right wing. And I think if anything, she is probably just an agent saboteur. I mean, remember, this is a woman who set up this sort of doxing app or organization or something like that against right wing people, before she all of a sudden discovered conservatism and had this supposed change of heart. I just don't believe people change their stripes like that. I don't think she is either. She'll say anything for attention. She really will. This is the sort of behavior that you would come to expect from somebody who will say anything for attention. It's like, why say these sort of outlandish things of something appeared to me in a dream, banging on about the wife of the French president potentially being a transsexual? It's like, what the fuck does any of that matter? Oh, you're engagement baiting. Okay. She makes less sense these days than ancient aliens and paranormal ice road truckers on the History Channel. Yeah. She's just, I think, quietly going mad. Whether she's just grifting for attention, I don't know. Or maybe she's been poisoned by the Israelis. Possible. They're not above doing that sort of thing. Who knows, really? Or maybe it is just postpartum mania, this, and hysteria setting in. Who knows? All I know is the woman's gone mad. She is a voice that delegitimizes everyone else by association, makes the normies repel at anything that right-wingers have to say, and it's best just ejecting her from the movement and just disavowing her and saying we want nothing to do with her anymore because she's just gone that batshit insane. How about she cover the fact that the wife of Macron used to be his teacher and had a relationship with him when he was 13, she was 38, as is now being confirmed. Okay. Again, that's weird, but it's also very stereotypically French in some ways. But again, it's like, how does this get him out of office? I mean, the French people are going to look at something like that, and I don't think they're really going to give a shit. It's like, okay, you can tell this to the American audience. It's like, okay, that's a bit weird, bro. But what does this have to do with anything on the home front in America? It's sort of, you still have to ask the question of who cares? How does this benefit us? I mean, don't get me wrong, that's kind of fucking weird, man. 38-year-old behaving that way, grooming a 13-year-old. Yeah, that's pretty fucking weird, but that's over there. We're over here. Those people over there need to deal with that. We've got our own problems to deal with. I mean, if someone broke the law, yes, they need to be punished. They need to do prison time. Maybe even face old Chippy, though more than likely they just need to face prison time. Or even more likelihood, it's the French, so nothing is going to happen. Instead, she spent the last 6 months talking about birth certificates and pictures from 40 years ago. Yeah, funny about that. This is too critical to tolerate. If Owens and others are sabotaging the effort, they are to be excised. Yes. We need to start getting a lot more merciless about excising agent saboteurs within the right-wing space. It's also illegal under French law, but yeah, very stereotypically French, yeah. His wife could be charged, he can't. Yeah, no, he's got certain immunity from that, and he's also the victim. Agree with you, man. It's a waste of time when we can attack the actual issues and ideology and win. There's so much of that, it seems like an absolute red herring and a distraction. He's done a ton of stuff that could get him charged with treason, but she constantly changes the topic to Macron's wife. Yeah, focus on Macron himself and the shit he's done. Never mind about his wife. Let's actually focus on Macron himself, which she would be in an interesting position to possibly even get him out of office, or at least play some sort of positive influence and get him out of office. But she doesn't. I think the morality projection is a problem that they need to recognize. Yeah. Also, thank you for the follow over on Kick. Hassan jacks off to Asmongold. What a name. And probably true.
Hassan Piker and mimicking the propaganda of Vladimir Putin. Or people who just randomly start cursing so much and are hanging out with the Groyper adjacent and embracing Islam.
Oh.
Maybe those people deserve lectures. I don't know. Well, listen, there's always...
Maybe they do, but not from you, sir. I think it is a bit weird the way Tucker Carlson is cozying up to the Mohammedans as of late. Some of the weird things he said. It's like, look, Islam is right about only one thing. Women. That's about all they're right on. Everything else, nah. Miss me with that, bruh. He signed mirage sale agreements with dictatorships in Africa under French laws. Regimes ruled enemies of France. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be doing that. That sounds like that would go against the interest of the French government and the French people, which you're supposed to be representing their interests. But yeah, that sort of thing should be focused in on. And tremendous missed opportunity because Candace Owens just wants to bang on about irrelevant things and, get caught up in the clickbaity bullshit, which never beaten the allegations, controlled opposition, and just being a grifter. Not in him sort of ignoring the Islamic issues in Europe, but that is to be expected from an American at this point. Yeah, it's still a massive issue. They all have to go back. Millions must go because they're not European. They're not part of Europe. They never will be. They all have to go. I remember following this sort of stuff as he was claimed to be an independent alternative to Hollande, despite years prior being his prodigy. Yeah. Funny how they try to play it being independent, and usually it's the most independent types that are most in the pocket of the establishment.
It's a big YouTube audience for that sort of crap.
Yeah.
But let's be real. There's a massive online audience for pornography as well. People addicted to both deserve a bit of a lecture. But let's get back to the central issue. The point of the attacks on the Daily Wire...
He really is... He is willing to go down with this ship. I respect this. I do.
Mm-hmm.
That is, dude, he's
defiant
so
to the end.
Sanctimonious about it. He's so patronizing. I love this.
That's who he is, and that's his nature. He's just defiant, patronizing, talking down. That's all he ever had from the beginning. And those of us who have been following him for a long time, we all saw it. We all saw it. It's like this is just a dead end. Politically, intellectually, whatever. He'll be fine. They're winding down certain ops and getting ready to spool up other ones.
Good, not gonna lie, it is. It's good. I'm starting to respect this. It's like whenever, I feel the same way about this that I felt with Mark Zuckerberg, and where they said that Meta is losing billions of dollars and Mark won't stop. I'm like, you are gonna ride this ship down to the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Mm-hmm. They will ride it until it crashes. Or they'll take their golden parachutes, they will pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go find something else to run into the ground. Remember it being talked about Hollande possibly facing treason charges for helping weapon sales to extremist groups in Ukraine, North Africa prior to the Green Revolution, and the Levant before and during and after the Arab Spring. Then Macron became president as a young alternative candidate, and all of that disappeared from French media and more broadly European media. Yeah, funny how it all just sort of gets swept under the rug. He did his bit for the global establishment, for the elites, and they rewarded him with the premiership in France.
And man, I gotta respect that. That's a man with a vision. It is. Might not be a vision I agree with, but you've got a vision for this. Respect, because you can keep farming them. Yeah.
Is of course not just
that
attack
too.
The Daily Wire. It's to destroy traditional conservatism. That's the whole thing, the entire thing, all of it, every bit of it. That's the whole thing. The reason they are coming after the Daily Wire is because they want to come after you. They want to come after traditional conservatives who believe traditionally conservative things.
Well, I mean, they're going to come after them no matter what. You're not even necessarily in the way. Most of the time we would follow that on with saying, you're just in the way. People like Ben Shapiro are not even in the way. They would gladly throw those types of everyday silent majority type mom and pop conservatives, they gladly throw them under the bus. You're cannon fodder for people like Ben Shapiro. You are tools to be used and then thrown away. Anyone remember Merkel? I remember Angela Merkel. How funny the way she drifted away from what really helped her ascend to power her background growing up in Eastern Europe and campaigning for the chancellery in Germany on this whole vision and platform of never going back to that sort of thing, and then proceeded to become the very thing that she lived under growing up in East Germany under the Soviet Union. Traditional conservatism died with the Great War and the Second World War. No conservative true majority government has been in charge in Europe since the 1950s. No. And so much of the establishment of the media and everyone is dedicated to making damn sure that never happens, because they have just so arse-blasted themselves and everyone else with propaganda that if they get anywhere within a few light years of something resembling that, all of a sudden, magically overnight, it's goose-stepping jetties in the streets, throwing up Roman salutes, when nothing could be further from the truth. The former director of the Stasi was hired by Facebook for European censorship leadership and management on Merkel's recommendation when Brexit was dominating the news. Yes, when people start voting and advocating for things that they don't like, then they start really showing their true colors. That it was never about what they said it was. They just want control, and they want to be able to dictate the outcome to everyone else. For them, it's never about our democracy, registered trademark, copyright, all rights reserved. Democracy is just a sham for them. It's just window dressing. They have that agenda, and they're not going to let something so pedestrian as the will of the people get in the way of that.
It is no coincidence that at the same time, the Washington Post and New York Magazine and all the rest of these legacy left publications are attacking the Daily Wire. They're also writing strange new respect features on Neg Fuentes and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson. The left wants those people to win. By the way, they're not hiding it very well. New York Magazine's piece says, quote, like the Rockefeller Republican of yore, the Shapiro Republican could go extinct entirely. That's what they want, right? They want traditional...
That's what I want, because you people don't win. You get into positions of power and then you don't seize and wield power. You cuck on everything. You bend over, grab the ankles, and give your opposition everything they want, except on things regarding sandbox wars. Everything regarding sandbox wars and invading the world and inviting the world. You just give us usury, sodomy, abortion, and forever wars, all of which seem to benefit you for some strange reason, but never benefits the people. The people be damned as far as you're concerned.
Army Republicans to go away. It's what they want, and it's what they hope for. And listen, maybe it will turn out that all these people who hate conservatism and what I consider to be traditional...
Have a great stream, gotta go. All right, Anna, take care.
American principles, maybe they're right. Maybe it'll turn out that the future of the right, perverted by the algorithmic insanity of the internet, is sloppulism. You know, the Tucker-style grievance conspiracism, complete with the night-scratching demons. Or Candace Owens' usual brand of kookery. Or Nick Fuentes' transgressive Nazi cosplay. Or Theo Vaughn's man-child podcast illiteracy. Maybe.
Theo Vaughn is not right-wing. I don't associate Theo Vaughn with anything remotely right-wing. He's more in the tier of like a Joe Rogan-style centrist, if anything. Or maybe someone who leans a little bit left. It's like, Theo Vaughn, right-wing in the same sentence? No. No. Just no.
He's just really... Bro, he's lashing out.
Yeah.
He is, bro. Oh my God. He's just cooking. This is good. Sloppulism? Oh
bro
my
is
God.
Big man.
Cooking everybody.
He's just calling it slop because it's something he doesn't like. Again, it's like other people who call things a grift or call other people grifters. So often it's just, this is something I disagree with or I don't like, so I'm going to call it names.
He wrong. I like Nick. The other ones, I think he's kind of right about. Yeah, I think he's kind of right.
But for quite often, so many of the wrong reasons.
Right. That's where the right goes. Maybe that's what comes next. Maybe that's all facilitated by the click whoring of the Megyn Kellys of the world and justified by an appeal to audience numbers, because none of these people ever appeal to morality. They just point to their clicks. Maybe Idiocracy wasn't a satire. Maybe it was a prophetic documentary. But here's the thing, from where I sit. That does not change.
I mean, he's right, but not for the reasons he thinks.
One single thing for me. Not a single thing. See, here's the thing. I've been doing this since I was 17 years old. I started off when I was 17 years old writing a syndicated column on politics. I didn't do that because I wanted to get rich.
In the words of Revolver Ocelot, looks like you were long overdue for a retirement.
That way. That's not how you get rich. I got into politics because I cared about the truth, about saying things
No, you didn't.
that I believe to be eternal and true. Because
Okay, that part, maybe.
I care about the ideas of conservatism. It's why I've done that
No,
for
you don't.
all these years. I care about free markets, and I care about private property, and I care about equal rights before the law. And
No, you don't. You will throw all of that away when it is inconvenient for you. You really don't. You, like your enemies, when the chips are down, you wipe your ass with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
checks and balances and the Constitution. I care about all of those things. I care about the America that the founders promised us, and the America that our parents and grandparents fought and worked for. And I'm not going to lie for cash. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to tell you about the wonders of Moscow supermarkets or the glories of Sharia law in Qatar. I'm not going to pander for clicks by pretending that Erica Kirk might have been complicit in Charlie Kirk's murder, or that perverse and malicious questions about TPUSA's cover-up are somehow a bizarre form of investigative journalism. I'm not going to wink and nod.
He's right about all of this, by the way. He's completely right. I know you guys might, and again, I think that we're generally negative towards Ben, but, he's totally right about this.
Yeah. No, he's not wrong. He's right, but not for the reasons and not for the angle that he's going for.
Of the Nazi incels, or chuckle along with people who pretend that a conspiratorial elite are the reason your life isn't everything that you want it to be. In the freest and most prosperous country in world history, I'm going to be grateful for America, and I'm going to point out what's great about America and what our principles are. I'm not going to do any of that other stuff, because here's the thing. I got into this business to do precisely the opposite. I haven't changed my principles. I've been doing this for 25 years. I have not changed my principles. Now, there's a question.
No, your principles have not changed in the sense that you are an agent for the foreign government. That much we know is accurate. That has always been your angle. You just don't have the decency or the balls to be transparent about it. I'd have more respect for you if you were transparent about this sort of thing. Founders couldn't promise anything. They set it up. It was up to those who followed after to try and keep it going. Yeah, and so many, they can't even do that. It's unfortunate, but here we are.
Israel's giving you good checks? I hope so.
From friends, from family. People will come up and they'll say, what happened to all these
people? I'd love to be getting those $7,000 checks. I'd need contracts in writing. And I would absolutely disclose to all of you they're paying me for all this, but I can't trust that these people would actually pay me. I can't trust that they would do the whole shtick of, go to them, where's my $7,000 check? It's like, $5,000? What do you want $4,000 for? I can't believe you're hassling me over $2,500. Help, police. He's harassing me over $1,000. You'll be hearing from our solicitors about the $7,000 you owe us. I can't trust that they'd actually pay up, that they wouldn't try to stiff me. I'd love to get $7,000 checks for that sort of thing. Its principles haven't changed. Current events have made people evaluate them differently. Yes, principles get looked at quite differently according to the times. Where's my car, Bruce? The Joker.
People. Yeah, they understand New York Magazine and Washington Post and what they are, but what happened to, Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or Megyn?
Social bait, that's not pretty. Well, I'll give you an example for me. A lot of my audience was not happy about the fact that I supported the Iran. Who cares? Who cares? It's what I think. Yeah, it's what I think. It's the same as people weren't happy whenever I said that I supported trans.
The people who came out to so vehemently Iran war have just made themselves out to be, just appear so incredibly unreasonable, and they all have made themselves out to look like their anti-Semitism is just, and hatred of Israel and Jews is just overriding their good sense. I'm not a fan of sandbox wars, and I would prefer that America and Western countries not get involved in sandbox wars. But it's like, but my attitude is also, if you're going to do this damn silly thing, don't do it in such a damn silly way. It's like, if we're going to do this, let's win. Let's win and win bigly, and win quickly and go home. Because America especially does not have the stomach for a long drawn-out war. They just don't. Everyone is still reeling from the Iraq war and how long it took for that to wind down. And even then, it ended up, I think, being a net loss. And so much of what people fought for was just lost in the chaos of pulling out. And it really saddened me to see military veterans that I had the pleasure and the honor of working alongside in various environments, having to watch as all of their hard work was just evaporated into nothing, and them having to face the uncomfortable truth of these wartime injuries that they've had to endure with and will have to deal with for the rest of their lives. It was all for nothing. That hurts. That fucks with someone psychologically. I don't want to see that happen again with Iran. I really don't want to see that. It's like, let's win this and make it count, please. A lot of people are unhappy. He was happy about the Venezuelan intervention. Yeah, I mean, sometimes there are things that are good that people you don't like can be happy about, but that doesn't make it wrong. Doesn't make it a bad thing. Nicolas Maduro was a piece of shit, and like his predecessor Hugo Chavez, they were leading Venezuela to ruin. Now the Venezuelans actually have a chance at building something better for themselves. Same thing with Cuba. Yeah, it's the only good communist is one that's dropped from helicopters. So if we have the chance to take out these regimes that have been an absolute thorn in the side of the United States and Western allies, we should take it. We should take it. And the way that we dealt with Venezuela was just, that was brilliant. That's like the gold standard for how it should be done. Just get in there, swoop in, take him out, and as just a final fuck you, bomb the mausoleum of Hugo Chavez. That was brilliant. If only we could do more of that, that would just be perfect. Maduro seemed more happy in the pictures when he was a prisoner than any of the ones the last 10 years as a president. And still seems rather cheerful in pictures since then. And he's in prison. Yeah. Funny how that works. At some point, I guess even communists feel like prisoners in their own country. Probably too afraid that if he starts to make any sort of overtures of, yeah, you know what, maybe we better call a truce with all this, he'll get taken out by the true believers in the ruling communist regime. Shows any weakness, or what's considered a weakness, he'll get taken out. So him getting swooped up by the Americans and thrown into an American prison, it's probably like a holiday for him at this point. I liked when Trump mentioned Cuba and Colombia in interviews afterwards. Yeah, Cuba definitely should be next. Colombia, I don't know. They probably just need a new president or something at this point. Colombia is doing all right for themselves in most respects. They finally have learned to stop killing each other over drugs and build a proper functioning country. Now, we actually reacted to an interesting video by Nomad Capitalist and Andrew Henderson about Colombia and how to live well for a lot less in a place like Medellin or Bogota. I think we've reacted to both videos. It's rather nice living in Bogota or Medellin in Colombia these days. They're rather lovely cities, and you can build a rather nice life for yourself there. Tinfoil take, Maduro conspired to get snatched because he wanted to get away, akin to Hassan getting banned so he can take a mini vacation. It wouldn't surprise me. Nothing really surprises me anymore, Megalum. Wouldn't mind him cutting off the migrant flow into Mexico via Cuba from South America. To an extent that has been done. Border crossings are down significantly, but that's still rookie numbers. We got to get those numbers up, and millions must go back. Wouldn't mind him shutting down Mexico's southern border, something their government has been struggling to do for a decade now. Yes, well, that would also be quite helpful, and I'm sure the Mexicans would appreciate that too.
People, like, I didn't care about people being trans. Who cares? If it's what you think, then what is, so this is my outlook on it, okay? Why is it that I have invested a decade of my life, years of my life into building what I have, doing all of this in order to avoid having a boss at work, only to replace it with having thousands of bosses as viewers? Why would I do that? What's the reason? Stupid.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Kelly and all the rest. And I don't know the answer because I'm not a psychiatrist. But here's what I do know.
And just for the record, chat, I love you all in the most platonic and professional sense I can put that. But it will be a cold day in hell before I ever regard any of you as my bosses. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do it. I'm here to entertain you. I'm not here to get bossed around by you. That is just not the dynamic I want, and it's not the dynamic I'm going to have either. Lord Rexworth is not suicidal. No, I most certainly am not. Isn't his wife like a doctor? Who, Ben Shapiro's wife? Yeah, I think he can't really stop talking about that either.
Nobody has ever asked that question about me. No one, because my worldview has not changed. It has not changed. My principles haven't changed because I think
Okay,
those
we get it. It
principles
hasn't changed.
are true and good. And those principles are not going to change. So, in the end, take it or leave it.
I view you. My view pays your salary. The secret Karen lurker somewhere out there. Yeah, if that's going to be someone's attitude, they are going to have a bad time.
If people decide they don't want to hear it, it's a free
Every man has his price. Yes, that's true. Every man does have his price. Mine is a particularly high one.
country. That's their choice. But I am willing to bet my future and the future of America that more Americans agree with me than agree with the people who want to destroy the Daily Wire.
You are going to lose that bet.
I'm betting there are a lot more rational people in this country than conspiracy-mongering nutjob. I'm betting that there are way more people in America who believe in truth and virtue and freedom than people who revel in grievance and demoralization and stupidity. And again, maybe I'm wrong.
You have done nothing to address those grievances and that demoralization. If anything, you dismiss it out of hand, you mock it, you make fun of it, you don't really address it in any serious way. And now you've got other people that are taking it more seriously, and they're thriving as a result, while you are floundering and failing. Again, this is a bet that you are not going to win, Benny. You're not going to win this one. I'm sorry. You're going to lose this one. Just like you lost with Trump, being a never-Trumper, twice now. You gambled, and you lost. Take the L and move on. But you don't even know how to do that properly.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we lose. But here's the thing. That also doesn't change a thing. It doesn't change a thing. It doesn't matter. Because the only thing that matters is the only thing that has ever mattered to me. Speaking the truth, whether people like it or whether they don't. Because facts still don't care about your feelings.
And feelings don't care about your facts. So we're kind of at an impasse here. That's the one little thing you leave out.
The Ben Shapiro Show.
Okay.
I gotta respect it, man.
Cool opinion, bro.
The entire internet is out to get him, and he holds frame. I do. I've got to respect it. I don't. So I think that Ben
doesn't blink to his credit.
It is even if you don't agree with him, you have to admit.
But he is going to crash and burn. He is absolutely going to crash. Shapiro copium, yeah.
That it's impressive to see somebody that stays in there. It would have gone harder if he didn't have the yarmulke on. Well, okay, so that's not true.
I mean,
okay.
he's an Orthodox Jew. He goes out in public. This is what he wears. That's part of his identity. He's not going to change that for anyone.
Look, so there are a number of things that I think that he has, that there's a messaging problem that he has. Number one, it's the messaging around Israel and downplaying people's legitimate concerns that we have so much interplay with Israel.
Yeah, there you have it.
Meanwhile, we have other countries that we seemingly have a lot more in common with, like European countries, places like Canada, and even a country like Japan.
Yes,
it
Japan.
Seems like there is very clearly a disorientation there where a lot of people's concerns for Israel do not begin and end at, let's say, the USS Liberty or the Iran war. I think that there is a much deeper and a much greater concern that people have that I think that Ben Shapiro doesn't do enough to address and I guess like give people any sort of resolution on. And
there's plenty of people who have more reasonable takes that don't bang on about the USS Liberty and Holocaust denial or anything like that, or war crimes committed by the Israelis. Most people, most normies, they don't give a shit about that. What really does resonate with them is, can you people in the sandbox just take care of your own shit, leave us alone, and let us deal with our own problems? And he won't even give that to them. He then starts to just freak out about all of that and just claim, you have to care about what's going on in Israel. You will be made to care about what's going on in Israel. And if you don't with your full chest support that sort of thing, then you are just a bigot and an anti-Semite and you want another Holocaust to happen. It's like, no, mate, it's just like, we've got our own problems to deal with over here. Can you please stop freaking out about this and just let us take care of our own shit? You take care of yours, and that's it. That's all. And he won't even let them have that. Thank you for the hydrate and stretch redeem. Singapore and South Korea come to mind. At this point, Mongolia has more in common with Europe than Israel.
Don't think that he's doing that in the right way. Lose no ground, exactly. Or the Gaza genocide. Well, I mean, again, Palestine is like a secondary issue because it's literally on the other side of the world. I'm talking about what average Americans think here in America.
Average Americans are more concerned with putting petrol in the tanks of their cars and being able to afford groceries and health care than they are what's going on with the sandbox war. That's what matters to them right now. And to downplay that and call them racist and anti-Semitic for having those concerns and not prioritizing Israel first, this is why Ben Shapiro is losing. This is why the Daily Wire is failing, because he just can't bring himself to pivot appropriately and say, yeah, you know what? Okay, I'm in America now. We need to the Zionist message, the whole pro-Israel message, we need to put that on the back burner, and we need to start focusing on populism and making it work for the Daily Wire, making it work in our favor. But just keeps going full retard on the sandbox war stuff, and this is why they're failing. Darwin, thank you for the tier 1 sub to One and Only Stormy. One and Only Stormy. Make sure you thank Darwin here for your tier 1 sub. Thank you for that.
So that's, I think, number one. Number two is the messaging about how it's not somebody else that's holding you back and holding you down. I think that in a lot of cases, actually it is. I think that you have some conservatives that...
It is Ben Shapiro as Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith saying, you turned such and such against us, and we're all just like, Obi-Wan Kenobi here is like, you have done that yourself.
Are saying that you have to pull yourself up from your bootstraps, but at the same time...
Yeah, Benny. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps there, champ. Quit having $5 Starbucks coffees and avocado toast all the time. And, you go over to that employer and you give them a firm handshake when you hand them your resume.
That messaging falls flat when you have DEI initiatives that privilege every single person except for, let's say, a regular white male. So whenever there's a lot of guys that are white guys that are consuming this content, and you're looking at systematic disenfranchisement in multiple levels, and then you have somebody like Ben Shapiro saying that you shouldn't expect to be able to afford where you lived, where you grew up in to live at, it can feel incredibly patronizing and problematic. And so those are the two weaknesses that I think.
It is incredibly patronizing. It is really problematic. It makes him look like just an insensitive, heartless arsehole who he doesn't care. He reveals himself as someone who does not care and never really cared. You're just, to him, you're just a little pay picky. I know that's not a kosher term to use. You're just a little pay picky who's just supposed to consume product and get excited for next product.
And has that are making him not resonate with people. It's the unrelenting and the complete moral absolutism of Israel. Like, I understand that Israel is fighting a war, they're defending themselves, etc. But to portray it in a way that, like, it is sad to see what's happened to the people in Gaza. Even if you think that Israel's in the right.
I love that chatter right there. It's not genocide, maybe ethnic cleansing, but it's not genocide. You know why it's not a genocide? People are still alive, yeah.
You can also admit that there's a lot of people that have been caught in the crossfire of that, and it's horrible what's happened to them. And I think that not being able to give any ground to that and have a reasonable, middle-of-the-road perspective on that, I think it's misleading and it's inaccurate. That's the problem, is that you can have empathy, for example, like even the Russian soldiers that are being killed by Ukraine. Many of these men don't want to go to war against Ukraine. They're getting conscripted into war, same as the men in Ukraine.
They are literally being dragged off to war. They're being snatched up on the streets by police and by the military and thrown into unmarked vans and just driven off, and just given the really old school treatment, stripped of everything and loaded guns pointed at them. Is like, okay, you're going to the front line, you're going to fight and die, and we're watching you. You turn around and try to desert, you will be shot. That's how desperate things are over there.
To the guys that are dying in ditches to a drone that plays a song and then explodes, you think they want to be there? Fuck no, they don't want to be there. This is something that, again, it's like, old men start wars so young men can go die in them. That's what happens. And so not being able to acknowledge this reality and any form of humanity to it, I think the problem with that is that you paint a picture that is myopic, it is also reductive, and it denies people a certain level of humanity that I think that really a lot of people can understand. And
it really speaks to people just don't have the stomach to fight wars in the old ways anymore. And so what I think we're going to start seeing more and more is what we're seeing right now, with wars being fought using swarms of drones. And there's a great dehumanizing element to that, to where you're going to start seeing not only the, whoever wins is whoever takes out the most drones on the other side, but also who is able to do more of these terroristic style pot shots at civilian targets. That's going to be what it'll be like to fight future wars. It's all going to be done with drones and robots, because nobody has the stomach to send flesh and blood humans off to do it. And it's only when civilian targets start getting hit, especially in Western countries, that's when it's presumed, I think, that the war will be over. It's who can rush to the negotiating table to stop a war that's become politically untenable for whoever is the ruling government in power.
The main problem that I think Ben has with Israel, and I think also downplaying the connections that Israel has with America. That's and the thing is, like, you can't distill that down into just simply Israel and American politicians are, like, doing the Iran war. Like, I support the Iran war. I don't support AIPAC. Like, I feel like, how many of you guys feel the same way that I do? Like, yeah, I think Iran is
if we're going to fight the war in Iran, fight it to win, but yeah, fuck AIPAC. I'm not interested in what they have to say or what they want or what they think, especially if it runs contrary to the interests of the United States. But time for Alec. Good night. Good night, sir. Good night. Take care.
Huge problem, but I also don't want Israel that has a pack in America that are trying to advocate for their own interests, right? I mean, like, what the fuck? So I think there's a big surprise, right? Very full shit. No, I'm not at all. But here, let me see. Do you have anything that's worthwhile? What is this here? Let me pull this up.
Oh, okay. He's going to start mogging on one of his chatters, probably burn them. We'll go ahead and give it a like. We're near the end of this one anyway.